All right. This is The Importance of Teamwork and Its Effect in the Workplace by Kevin, Max, Alec, and Alex. So, what is teamwork? Teamwork is when two or more individuals work together towards a common goal or objective. Usually, these individuals working together are dedicated to achieving the goal. Teamwork is always being displayed throughout the world, whether it be in sports, the military, businesses, families, friends, and school. All organizations involve various individuals that collaborate together in order to complete an objective. So why is it important? In the business environment, teamwork plays a vital role in the accomplishment of an organization's goals. Every business requires coordination between individuals and groups. Information is always being passed between individuals and departments in order to coordinate activities in an efficient and successful manner. Individuals of different strengths are able to work together in order to create innovative ideas. So these are the 5 requirements for teams according to Rick Warsman. 1, being all members focus on a shared mission. 2, all members of the group trust each other. 3, members must be willing to make sacrifices. 4, objectives are communicated clearly. And lastly, number 5, members have their heads in the same direction. So here's a short video on the importance of teamwork in the workplace.
Hi, in this video you will learn about the importance of teamwork in your day-to-day work within business and outside of it. Teamwork is a term used for joining the efforts of bringing members in a project or business together to achieve a common goal. The members of the team work together effectively as a group with the aim of increasing productivity and performance. In this video, we will explain the 5 reasons why effective teamwork is essential in any organization. Teamwork creates a smoother and looser structure by developing a friendly environment, where leaders are not trying to be bosses, but rather work together with members as a team. This helps build strong bonds between the members. Teamwork encourages flexibility, since by working and communicating together, teams enable different perspectives to be considered and thus allow the business to respond to change faster. Teamwork enhances problem solving by combining different solutions, abilities, and talents into one big productive unit, and allows new ideas to flourish and goals to be achieved faster. Teamwork improves productivity since the performance and knowledge of an individual is limited compared with a group of varied skill sets. Teamwork motivates the workforce and creates a healthy environment between the team members, which is essential given that most people spend time with their colleagues more than they do with their friends. Smart leaders encourage good teamwork and give teams the authority to take decisions based on what they see is right. Smart individuals learn how to work well within a team, since that is becoming more and more important in all fields of work. Great teamwork translates to great performance when it is managed well.
Okay, so building a collaborative workforce is a critical step needed for long-term survival. When employees are going against each other or having opposing priorities, it slows down the business and it makes progress difficult. 86% of workforce failures come from a lack of collaboration and poor communication. And the article we chose shows important steps to follow in order to help ensure a successful team. So one thing to do is highlight existing problems, and one common problem is groupthink, which is when the group just follows like one thought and everyone agrees with each other, which is bad because you're not like criticizing and evaluating and coming up with other ideas and like arguing what the best idea would be. Another problem is poor communication, which, for example, like If your coworker was distracting you and you didn't tell them to like leave you alone so you could get to work, you're not gonna be productive and get stuff done. Another issue is when no one volunteers to collaborate because they're scared to share their ideas because they don't want to get judged or like shut down. um, and if when you're hiring new employees and you're not like seeing how they could collaborate or their ability to collaborate. Next. Ways to break down collaboration barriers is to lead by example. If you take initiative and be a leader, then people feel more comfortable to follow you. Another way is to reduce interactions by having more direct communication channels. So if you want to communicate with a different department, but you can't because you have to go through a supervisor, that's much less productive than if you could just directly communicate with whoever you need to. Apply distributive decision making is when the people making the decisions actually deal with that instead of like someone at the top making decisions for stuff that they don't even experience. Ensuring a balanced reward system increases employee morale. If when everyone's doing good, they get equally rewarded. And then provide context of the goal. When employees are reminded of like the overall goal, their morale will increase because they know what they're working towards. Next. Let's see. Ways to create a trusting atmosphere is to like encourage people to share a bunch of ideas and don't judge people's thoughts or like dismiss a stupid idea, and just brainstorm openly without worrying and just be vulnerable, because the more ideas that are shared and discussed, the better outcomes you'll have. Next. It's important to make sure everyone has a role. No role is small, and it's important that all the employees are aware that each role they have is a valuable element in the process of achieving the team's goal. And just remind them all that they're important to the team and make sure they know their role. Next. It's also important to learn from your mistakes. The only true failure is not learning from your mistakes, because everyone makes mistakes, but it's good to use it as a positive learning experience and improve as an outcome. And it's good to make sure that the team doesn't get discouraged just because a failed project or something didn't go their way. Next. Setting goals and listening. It's important to set goals and set goals that everyone is accountable for achieving, and not that they're just working for their individual outcome. And have a system of goals that stresses the overall importance of the organization. It's also important to value listening as much as speaking, because team members need to feel like they're listened to and their opinions are understood and considered by the whole group. As well as active listening leads to better outcomes and more productivity than if no one was listening to each other. Some failed teams. For one, the Cleveland Cavaliers, when they played the Warriors in the finals, they lost because they just had two players trying to do it all, Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. And poor decision making. They were unclear of their roles. The other teammates were just like standing around and didn't really know what to do. They didn't have good dynamics and just bad teamwork overall. And then the car brand Oldsmobile, its mistake was halt on innovation, because the design flatlined and they just kept making outdated cars eventually. And their problem was they didn't have anyone in the company to learn from their mistakes and point out their problems, probably because of groupthink. because everyone was just going like with what the company was doing, which was the wrong thing, which led to their demise. Next. Then I think that's Max.
Okay, so thank you. Here are the textbook recommendations compared and contrasted to the chosen article. And so our chosen article was building a collaborative workforce to improve business performance. And that was by Angela Hausman. And it focused on the existing problems that can occur within a group and how to resolve the issues within that group. And that would include groupthink, a lack of motivation, and then barriers within the team. And then the chapter that we had was chapter 14, which was leading teams. And that focused more on like long-term team processes and norms and the value of teams and how to deal with conflict within a small team setting. Next slide, please. So these are the article recommendations. And so this article put heavy emphasis on existing problems within a team. So remembering 3 important issues within the team, which include groupthink, motivation, and team barriers, the article gives recommendations about how to find solutions for these issues. So the first one was to ensure trust and willingness to share ideas. And we kind of briefly touched upon this earlier, but this is essential to breaking down those barriers of communication within the group. This also discourages groupthink, as it allows an open stream of ideas from multiple sources. And then the next is finding a positive in a mistake, which is by looking for the good in any mistakes or problems, you can encourage your team members to keep working hard, and it greatly helps the motivation of the group. Next slide, please. Here's just a few more things that the article recommends that we do to help out. And so it's to push for active listening within the group. So inside a team, your communication is of the utmost importance. So when your team is actively listening to one another, your process is streamlined and allows everything to move smoothly, as well as it helps you to develop a closer bond within your teammates and yourself. Another thing that was very important in the article was setting long-term group goals, because when you set a common long-term goal, it ensures that everyone has accountability within the project or task. And by having multiple long-term goals, it keeps people engaged and motivated, and they want to continue working together to complete the task. Next slide, please. So here are our textbook recommendations from chapter 14. And so while the article chose groupthink, motivation, and team barriers as issues that needed to be addressed, the textbook focused more on ways to improve the positive aspects of teamwork, like long-term team norms, the values of those teams, and how to deal with conflict. So for team norms itself, the textbook stated that having long-term team norms provide a frame of reference for what's expected of the team. This encourages the team members to really step out of their comfort zone and to try to expand their mindset more than what they would have done working by themselves. And so then that leads into the next section, which is the value of a team. And it stated that teams are highly useful when it's done correctly, because a team can allow a task to be done efficiently by allowing easy coordination and information sharing, as well as a medium to share different ideas and opinions, better so than you would be able to do it with just yourself or one other person. And then the final thing that the textbook really recommended was learning how to deal with conflict, because conflict really is inevitable. But it stated that negotiation was key, and that with people who really care, a win-win solution can be found, especially with no negotiation. Next slide.
Alex, you're on mute.
Having good teamwork is the most important thing when working on a project for school or work. Great communication skills goes a long way with your team, so that everyone is on the same page and they also have this same goal in mind. Setting up goals with your team members, what the team needs to complete their goal by whichever their manager / professor gave them so that they can be successful later on. Next slide. You need good collaboration skills with everyone, so everyone is on the right track. Good listening skills so that everyone's idea is heard. Everyone agrees with, not everyone, if they agrees with the idea. Make sure that each team member speaks and everyone thinks that's the best idea. And yes, and then assign different assignments to each person so no one leaves out, no one is left out. Make sure everyone has their equal share. Without good teamwork, your team is designed to fail, and failure is okay. That gives you time, what you need to work on, better on, and overall, having good teamwork benefits you and the people who you work around with, so you guys can succeed together.
And that is our presentation. Thank you for listening.